Hello, my name is Jack. Welcome to DeVance. We're going to be unboxing the MC901 from McIntosh. This is a just ridiculous piece. This is everything that McIntosh offers into one unit, and it's a absolute monster. Not just from a weight perspective, because this thing weighs like 180 pounds, but from everything that it can do. So let's start unboxing this guy. First, this is a huge box. Obviously, this is massive. It ships in about 200 pounds, and so it is no joke. But when you take this lid off right here, we start diving into the internals of what's included. Luckily for us, these side pieces come down. I think they know because it's so stinking heavy. First off, we get the power cable. That's just kind of on the outside of the box, so be careful for that guy. That's just sitting over here. We'll put that to the side for right now. On the top, with the styrofoam piece, very dense styrofoam as well. We got the owner's manual right here. We have some warning labels as well. And then we have the layers and layers of foam that they always put on top of these bigger units. And so as you can see, we're starting to kind of unravel this piece. And you can see the sheer magnitude of the size of this thing. This is what McIntosh calls a dual mono amplifier, and what other people also call a dual mono amplifier, not just McIntosh, but in essence, this is a tube amplifier and a solid state amplifier for powering your speakers. Let's plug this thing up and see what it looks like. So on the back of this unit, power cable just comes right out the back right there. And this is a big unit, 17.5 inches wide, 13 3/8 inch high, and 29.5 inches deep. So you can see we have some protection on top of these units right here, on top of the speaker terminals. And so you can put those back on. But as you can see, they kind of have some screw-in spots right here. So if you really want to protect those guys, this is really a showpiece for you. You can make sure that those are protected. Another little cool tidbit is this is a little wrench that McIntosh supplies with all their units that have this, what we call solid cinch technology. And what this is a way to really lock these units down. And so this piece is actually floating in here. When you're screwing anything down on there, like a spade connector to a speaker, you get that piece on top really good. That clamps down the spade, and then you just torque this down a little bit, and that thing is not coming loose. Even if it rotates in that unit, it will not come loose. Some important aspects to this is 300 watts to the tubes, 600 watts to the solid state. This is really meant to bi-amp some of these larger speakers, and what you want to do is put the tubes on the mids and the highs and the woofers on, that solid state side. That gives you a ton of power regardless of what you're using. But there's a few things that McIntosh uses specifically that help us get there. One is the unity coupling, which unity coupling is when you take the solid state output and the vacuum tube output, and you essentially sync them together so that when you're turning things up and down, they move at the same time. So this 901 has these cages that protect the tubes. To even get these off, you need to unscrew these 4 bolts right here, these 4 screws, and then you just gently pry up, and you can kind of see where they kind of fit in previously. On top of that, these are protecting the tubes themselves, these beautiful, beautiful tubes. We'll do the same thing for this guy right here. Take this guy off, and then we'll leave this unwrapped, but obviously you can always put these back on to protect these tubes. So one of the cool things that we'll see right here is that the platter that actually holds these tubes is made out of carbon fiber with some glass on top of it. And so after we kind of have everything unboxed, and we want to turn this unit on, we'll see those tubes start to light up, warm up a little bit, and get ready to be played. Even though this is a tube amplifier, it still stays relatively cool, all things considered. Some of the points on this unit is that it has quad balanced, outputs on the back. So anything that's the 2, 4, 8 ohm outputs. It's got the solid cinch. It has the cinch reminder. It has the power guard. It has dual meters on the front, as we can see right here. this will match up to the tweeter side and the woofer side, or essentially the vacuum tubes and the solid state as well. And we can see that they go to 300 and 600 watts a piece, but that is pretty conservative, all things considered. This is something that McIntosh does, is that they kind of underrate some of their power means, but you have what's called a headroom on top of this. And so the headroom for the tweeter side, or the vacuum side, is 1.2 dB, and for the solid state it's 2.5 dB. And so every 3 dB that you want to add, you need to essentially double the power. And so what really these are rated at is about 420 watts of peak from the tubes and about 1100 watts of peak from the solid state. That is an immense amount of power. So some important facts on the back of this piece is all the inputs. You get your power control in and out. You have a vacuum tube direct input. You have a solid state direct input. And if you don't have, dual XLRs to power both of those guys, or RCAs, which we're seeing here, they have a composite input, which kind of, pushes those two together. And then we can switch from each one of these. You have to really select balanced or unbalanced. And then make sure that these guys are also set as well. If we're doing direct for each one of these and we have a separate input for each one of those, you want to go direct. If it's not, you want to go composite. And then the auto off feature as well. This is something that Mac has on some of their amps, but this guy specifically, if it's not working for, a certain amount of time, if it doesn't sense any input, it will just shut itself off. We have auto formers on the back, 2, 4, and 8 ohm for each side. Regardless of what your speakers are, you really want to match those up with the minimum impedance of what you have. But these will basically cover anything that you need. And as we can see back here, we have 300 watts rated for the vacuum side, vacuum tubes, and 600 for the solid state side. The plugs on the back right here. We got a circuit breaker as well. All right, to dive into the amps, we want to look at their harmonic distortion for each one. So the solid state is sitting at 0.005% full power rating at 600 watts, and that's 122 dB signal to noise ratio. That is super quiet. For the vacuum tube side, we have a 0.5% harmonic distortion, fully power rated, and 112 dB of signal to noise ratio. Now, not all distortion is rated equally. Tube distortion is a lot sweeter and what we're used to hearing, back in the day. This is the sound that we love. And so distortion is not always bad. All right, so this is the last piece of the 901. And you can see we have a low pass and a high pass filter for the vacuum tubes and for the solid state side. And so we can adjust the crossover of each one of these guys right here and the gain as well. So whatever your speakers are rated for, whatever their crossover is, you really want to match them in this spot to make sure that it is sounding as crisp and as beautiful as possible. All right, so this concludes our unboxing of the MC901 from McIntosh. Like I said, this is a killer piece, guys. This is awesome. The unity coupling with the vacuum tubes in the solid state is, it's honestly amazing. And so to hear one of these units is something special. Just make sure they're on a pair of some really awesome stereo speakers and you'll get them rolling, or even do like a full surround sound with these powering every single speaker if you want to go crazy. But over here at DeVance, come check us out. Check out our website. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a shout. Thank you.